Da, 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 da. So we got 2 minutes to class. Getting there, getting there. Okie dokie. Alright, so let's conclude that. Get these out of the way. Welcome, welcome to those who are new and those who are not. Alright. Alright, what the fuck? Need to update this. Let's see what's in this one. All right, we got another minute, and then we are going to begin. So we got fixed it. All right, close this, this, and these. Drop them. All right. Okie dokie. So today we're gonna go over a couple of things. It's been it's been an interesting week. And for those of you, again, who are not a part of the Telegram group, the Telegram group is 876 Rights, right? You know, we need to start community building. We cannot proceed on our own all the time, right? Sometimes we need a little assistance, we need support. We might need, maybe not physical support, but sometimes we might just need that emotional support, right? You're going to court or you're preparing documents, you don't have nobody to talk to. That's not good. That's not good. You're preparing for court and you don't have anyone to bounce ideas off of. You don't have anyone to say, hey, that doesn't sound right. Maybe we can come up with a different way. That's not good. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things, it takes practice, right? You don't want to just jump into a situation and you don't know how exactly you're going to be proceeding, right? So what I'm going to start doing is, for those who may have a case, we can do mock trial. And mock trial is simply practicing for court, right? Yeah man, big up on yourself, big up, big up. It's simply practicing for court when you have mock trials. And you talk about different scenarios. Someone play the judge, someone play the adverse party, someone play the complainant. You know, you have different roles that people can play. And you just talk through it. You go through a scenario and see where you get stuck. You go through a scenario and see how you can better handle that situation, right? It's not always good to just jump in at things and, you know, have no idea what the outcome might be or what kind of position you might take, what kind of argument you might use. You know, so, excuse me, it's one of those things. that is very important. And again, it's not 1, 2, and 3 people. Sometimes you need 5, 10, 20 people that are familiar with something. So if one person not available, they can bounce it off of somebody else. You go to court, somebody in that area, them can assist you going to court. You know, somebody might not have a ride. You can get a ride, go find a JP. Some little things, you get to me and say everybody jump in, pitch in, and help each other. It don't have to be money. You see me? Because if someone is able to assist in a situation and it keep you out of jail for something you know that you didn't do or something that you know does not apply to you, how much is that worth? Right? It's always good to think about things morally. Because when we start building a community, it's going to make more sense to come together and do things as a community and stop thinking about money. Because money can be done in a week or a day. When you change somebody's life, that's a lifetime. You see me? What going on, Robbie? Big up yourself.
Up.
Up. Where are you doing?
Just coming in from the cold.
Okay.
Even though it's almost summer.
It don't sound like you're there, Jamaica.
No.
Okay. Yeah, man. So, you're familiar with the videos and
Man, I'm almost every day, man. I'm looking at them.
okay, so you already know what it is.
I'm really intrigued.
Okay. Yeah, man. Lawful around here. You tell me I say you have to learn to stand up on your own 2 feet. You can't always depend on people. You know?
Just as that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
I appreciate the work you're doing, you know.
yeah, man. Thank
Because
you.
a lot of things many of us didn't know, but then like the teacher coming. The teacher is in.
Right. Yeah, I mean, somebody got to do something so we can start, you know.
And guess what? We're getting it free.
Alright. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
You see me?
100% free, brother.
Yeah, man. Because me not do it for myself, you know. Me just want to see my country better.
No. Because you already have it. You have a basic, you have the technical skill, you have everything about it already. So you don't have to do it for nobody. You just do it for yourself, you don't do it.
Exactly.
You know where to go to find whatever you need.
There,
So it's not really yourself you do it for, you do it for the good, the common man.
Exactly.
Like me.
Yeah, man.
Like me who don't know.
Well, you see, we all have to start somewhere, you know, because we're all ignorant to something.
Yes.
You know. So as much as somebody might know one thing, like me know a little bit of farming, but me have to draw to some other people with more experience, you see it?
Exactly.
So me still have to show love whenever me can. And just know say yo. And the whole of we night.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, man. Big up. Peaches, what man? I look like Peaches busy. So today we're gonna be talking about 1, community. Number 2, we're gonna talk about the license. We're gonna talk about the Constabulary Force Act. And we're gonna talk about, again, do not argue. All right, Peaches, I see you. Do not argue. You see me? I can't stress this enough. You see, a lot of videos that I comment on or I shed some light on the lawful perspective it is always a problem when you start arguing or talking over the officers, because even though they're not supposed to be engaging with people, and I'm going to get into that today, that does not mean that you can be disrespectful to them. You get what I say? Because a lot of us don't know what's really going on, even though you see it happen, just trust and believe when I say a lot of us don't know what's happening behind the scenes and why the police are doing what they're doing. So it is always good. Do not argue. We can't stress that enough. So, again, the first thing is community building. Like I said, for those of you who are interested and those of you who are action takers regarding the law, is not everybody going to have that kind of knowledge. It's not everybody can gravitate towards this, because really and truly the law is very intricate. You have one law here, you have one law there, you have one oppressor, and sometimes all three of them work together. So you have to have some insight on whether or not something applies to you, and you have to know where to look, you have to know what to read, because it's not the entire body of law at any given time apply to you. It's usually a very small section or a sentence, right? So for people who have that brain power to be able to understand what's going on and understand what I am saying, what I am teaching, what I am showing, then for those people, those are the people who are going to be at the forefront whenever we start having things happening like movements, whenever we start having things like, making claims, assisting others, and essentially becoming what's called Co-Counsel. Co-Counsel is basically, we figure out the process of how things work, and we assist each other without money. That is the key. If we are doing things without money, the law in most cases do not apply to us. What does that mean? It means you don't have to register a business, you're not under no regulation. A lot of things do not apply to you regarding any kind of regulation of the law and stuff like that. As long as we are lawful, you don't need to be registering the business. You don't need to be forming a LLC, a corporation, a limited liability. None of them something there, as long as we take out the financial aspect of it. And that is another reason why this page is still up. Because I am not charging a fee. I am not taking consultations. I'm not doing any kind of monetary or commercial activity. Right? So that is coming later. I'm just mentioning that for those who are wondering what is coming next. How are we going to help each other? That is how we're going to help each other. Once we start making proper claims and we start gathering the necessary resources, then we now have to look to people for 10,000, 150,000 or whatever. We can simply, as a community, become self-sufficient. Right? All right. So let us talk about the license. For those of you who have not checked out the Daily Dose of Law as of yet, there was a question here. How the search phone law, can you give a point of view? There is no such law to search a phone. The phone cannot be searched without your consent. Okay? Some people might be under gunpoint or whatever the case may be. Right? That is under duress. But generally speaking, the police cannot demand that you unlock your phone. They need a court order. A court has to issue that order for them to unlock your phone. Right? So if a police asks you, you tell the officer kindly, I decline the offer. The answer is no. And I covered this in a previous video already. That was in the daily traffic tips. You said them just dig it out of your hand and body up to unlock it. Listen, your life is better than the phone. Okay? I tell everyone, get a dash cam. This cannot be said enough times. If you're new here or if you're already here for a good while, get a dash cam. It is not expensive and it can save your life. And it can also help you in making a claim later on when you get violated. The dash cam can't just lock off. The audio is recording, the video is recording. You can use the footage after the whole encounter is done. So don't take this lightly when I say if you have a car, get a dash cam. It's not expensive. Get a dash cam. All right. So back to this thing with the license. For those of you who are following the daily dose of law, I covered the license already. And also in the last 2 classes, I covered the license. A license is a permission granted by the government for some purpose. Right?
No.
The license, if you have a license and the license is supposed to allow you to do something, right? Let's say they say it's driving, which it's not, but let's just go with the plain statement of the driver license is supposed to allow you to drive legally. If you are not driving, does the license apply? No, because the license itself is for driving. So when the police are stopping and ask you for license,
Yes, I did one step down this way, you know. One step.
it is not a lawful order, right? Because again, if you have a police that is investigating a crime, because again, a police can only investigate crimes, they can only engage in criminal actions. They cannot deal with civil actions. And I'm going to again show you guys today as well. As you know, we don't just talk. We can show the law, we can show the foundation, we can show what makes us able to do and say what we say and do, right? That is the only way you prevail. You have the evidence, you have the facts, and you have the authority, right? So, if you are not driving and the police say, show me your ID. Again, if you have your dash cam, you don't need to prove anything. You're already having the audio and the video. Again, the dash cam and the power bank. The dash cam gets plugged into the power bank. So if you need to shut off the car, the dash cam is still running. Right? All right. If the police say, listen, give me your phone. You tell him no. If him point a gun at you, you give him the phone. Which do you prefer, your life or the phone? Come on. I am not saying to always comply to everything, you know. But when you have a threatening situation, you don't want to put your life in danger to be protecting something that is not even relevant or you may not even use. You get what I'm saying? So don't play a hero. Don't try to obstruct or tell the officer, you know, you not do this, you not do that, you not come out of the car. Them something unnecessary. It's not necessary. All right? So the license itself, even though they say it's for driving, driving is, all right, let me break this down deeper. The only thing that can be regulated is non-private use of something. Things in the public. What does that mean? You in your private car is not a regulated activity. Let me say that again. You in your private car cannot be regulated because it doesn't affect anyone else. So when they say you need a driver license or me I gonna lock you up, or your driver license this, your driver license that, you are not driving until you are engaged in a regulated activity. Driving, again, you need a license. You can't need a license to move about. But you need a license if you're going to move about and cause what's called plunder, which is basically you are getting something for doing something, some kind of trade or exchange. That is the only thing that can be regulated in law. This is international law. This is not even just Jamaica. Internationally. If you are not engaged in trade or commerce, it cannot be regulated. It is private. It is outside the jurisdiction of the court. It is outside the jurisdiction of the police officer. And it's outside the jurisdiction of anything they can regulate. But, as I said, do not argue. And as I said before, do not obstruct the officer. Let us pull up something so that we get started on a good foot. Zine? So we're going to pull up the Constabulary Force Act. The Constabulary Force Act. And we're going to bring it on screen so we can take a look at what the Act says. I would say lawful around here. Lawful around here. All right. So here we have the Constabulary Force Act. Right? And section 13, as we can see here, it says duties of the police. Right? So let's go down to section 13. 10, 11, 12, and 13. Here we have section 13 of the Constabulary Force Act. Yeah, man, may I zoom it up? Y'all can see it now? Drop a one in the chat if you can see it. Drop a one in the chat if you can read what's on the screen. Are those too small you can see it? Come on, people. Come on. Drop a one in the chat if you can read what's on the screen. Need at least 5 people. We got 3, 4. Come on. A class with you, know. Need to participate. You can't just come. You can't just come out and look so. What you got? All right. Moving on. For those of you who are listening and those of you who all right, we'll just move it to the left. All right. So, the Constabulary Force Act, Section 13. It says, the duties of the police under this act shall be to keep watch by day and by night, to preserve the peace, to detect crime, apprehend or summon before a justice persons found committing any offense or whom they may reasonably suspect of having committed any offense or who may be charged with having committed any offense, to serve and to execute all summonses, warrants, subpoenas, notices, and criminal processes issued from any court of criminal justice. You see, when I say the police can only investigate crimes, this is what I mean. The Constabulary Force Act that gives the police the power to execute their duties. It specifically states that criminal processes issued from any court of criminal justice. Right? So it has to be a criminal process that they are executing. All right, we're not going to stop reading now, because we want full context, right? Or by any justice in a criminal matter. Again, it outline to you and emphasize, say, the police is only for criminal matters. Okay? And to do and perform all the duties appertaining to the office of a constable. But it shall not be lawful to employ any member of the force in the service of any civil process. So if the police, let me finish reading. Let me finish reading. Again, but it shall not be lawful to employ any member of the force in the service of any civil process, or in the levying of rents, rates, or taxes for or on behalf of any private person or incorporated company. Right? And I'm going to leave this up on the screen so you can reference it. If the police is only supposed to be conducting criminal investigation and only have a duty for anything related to criminal offenses, when time I tell them to say the tickets are criminal convictions, I still not believe. I don't believe so. The Constabulary Force Act right here is telling you plain and straight that the police can only engage in what? Criminal matters. And the criminal matters pertain to what? The court. So when the police is telling you that this is a civil matter or they don't have any crime, that is an admission of guilt that they are acting unlawfully. Okay? If the police is only given the duty to only deal in criminal processes and criminal matters, and the statute specifically states, it shall not be lawful to employ any member of the force in the service of civil process. A ticket cannot be civil. So that means they are convicting you of a crime on the side of the road without due process of law. What is due process? Let us get to that. Let's get to due process. Fundamental rights and freedom. This is the Order in Council 1962 with the amendments. This is the Jamaica Constitution, or so they call it.
Oh, sorry, I'm close.
Well, go on, Mr. Difficult. No problem. So, Chapter 3 of the Constitution gives you your fundamental rights and freedoms and the protections of rights and freedoms. Again, the Constitution does not give you any rights. It simply gives you the protection of those rights. Okay? So do not go out there talking about your constitutional rights. There is no such thing. The Constitution gives you protection of the rights. Okay? You need to learn these things before you go out there or start talking to any officer about Constitution and constitutional rights. And you need to read it. Section 16 of the Constitution is where you have due process of law. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. You notice the title, what it says? Protection of right to due process. So it's not giving you any right. It's telling you that you have protection of the right. Okay? So what is due process? Due process is number 1 all the way down to number 12. Down here, so. So this entire thing here, so, is your right to due process. 3 pages. And I bet if I ask one of you, name a due process right, you have no clue. Maybe 1 or 2 we know. But if you don't know these things, here's another thing. If you don't assert a right, you don't have that right. Let me say that again. In order for you to exercise a right or to have a right, you have to exercise it. You have to let it be known. You have to give notice that you have that right and you activate that right. People out here talking about, I reserve my rights, I reserve my rights. That is doing nothing but putting a right in a bucket until you're ready to use it. There's no such thing as reserving your rights in the public. That don't make no sense. You need to activate your rights, and you cannot activate them in front of the police. That don't make any sense either. Why it don't make any sense? Because you need to put your rights in the public on public notice. What does that mean? Before anything becomes law, it is published somewhere. You have a chance to review it. You have a chance to oppose it. You have a chance to deliberate over it. And you have a chance to reject it. You remember they had the Constitution reform? Even though they didn't publicize it as much, it was there. And that Constitution reform, we don't even know what's going to happen with it because it did not require the public. It did not require the public's opinion and the public's input and the public's acceptance or rejectance of it. So I don't know how that is going to go into effect. It's a difficult. What go on?
I just got.
All right. We come back to him.
Oh, sorry. Like my phone keeps hitting me with the. It's just a matter of mindset, right? Like if you get pulled over by the cop and you have the mindset that the cop has authority over you, you're already going to be like full of anxiety and all of that. But we're going to be full of anxiety anyway because they got guns and backup and all of that, right?
Right.
But once you work through that, and the best way you can work through that is to start asking them questions, right? You don't respond. If they ask you a question, respond with a question. This is the way, it's like the hot potato, right? He who holds the potato must answer the question.
Well,
You can throw it back if you ask another question. It's a counter offer, right?
But hold on. It's a little bit different in Jamaica.
See, yes. Okay. I won't be able to speak on that because I haven't been there since I was like 9.
Yeah. So in
Yeah.
Jamaica, right, you don't have the same, how can I put it? You see, the same protections that you would talk about in a state matter. In
Right.
Jamaica, if you don't answer the officer, right, you're asking the officer a question and the officer is so-called giving you an inquiry or the officer is demanding something of you saying it's a lawful order.
It's an interrogation. Let's call it what it is.
Right. It is what's called a consensual arrest, right? Or a consensual encounter. Let's put it that way. Because they're not going to say you're under arrest immediately.
Right.
It's usually after you say something or they come up with some kind of thing to say, oh, I'm suspicious of this or I'm suspicious of that. Then they'll say, well, yes, you can't leave. You're under investigation or you're under, detention right now.
Correct. Because you're engaging.
Right. So that one is definitely not going to work in Jamaica if you keep asking questions. Because they are going to start using force. Are they going to say, all right, I will assume that you accept everything that I'm doing and you're out of luck?
Would it be still a violation if they act outside the ambit of their authority,
Always.
Always.
Okay. Yeah, that's universal, but that is not determined on the side of the road.
Right. So you're trying to protect the people, not protect their rights. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I got you, brother.
Exactly. So when we talk about due process and we talk about what is due process, it is not one single sentence, is not one single paragraph. It is a long stretch of things that needs to happen before any right is taken away from you. Right? So when I say just go read this section, it is not just to say, boy, you have to read the whole lot to understand it. No, it is to make sure you understand what it is that you should be asserting and what you should be knowing that you have. This is a part of the powers that you have. Not just, oh yeah man, read it. And you don't do anything with it. That don't make any sense. Right? So, the due process protections that are granted, you need to know exactly what's in it. If you even just need to print these 3 pages and you read your due process rights over and over again, you will start getting it. When you start looking at the words and you start seeing how they are used and what exactly it is that they are protecting, then you have an idea of why certain things are legal and why certain things are unlawful. A lot of things are not in here. For example, the maxim that there's something called maxims of law. And these things are simply well recognized phrases, terms, or sentences that are accepted in law over a long period of time. One of those phrases are, he who does not assert a right does not have it, or he who does not assert his rights have none. It sounds unfair, but as I taught you guys earlier in the season, if you don't know something, or if you don't know something is there, how can you protect against it? How can you protect it? How can you defend against something you don't know or you cannot see? You can't. So the only way for you to know that you have some kind of right or you know how to protect it is to know it. Everything is about knowing. You don't speculate when you go to court or speculate when time the police come look for you. You should already have your game plan down. You should already know, say, okay, you have these rights, and you should already know, say, you can do this and you can do that. Okay? So back to the Constabulary Force Act. The police only has criminal jurisdiction, and it is clearly outlined in Section 13 of the Constabulary Force Act. It specifically criminalizes, makes it unlawful for the police to issue any civil process. And it says it right here. You don't have to go searching for it. You don't have to be telling the police all kind of whatever. Just know that it's here. If you know that the police cannot lawfully issue a traffic ticket because it is not a criminal matter, because a criminal matter, as we covered in the Daily Dose of Law, a crime or a criminal must result with some kind of injury or damage. Let me say that again. A crime or a criminal matter must involve some kind of injury or damage. Without those two elements, you cannot have anything criminal. Okay? So when you hear people saying, well, officer, what crime do you suspect me of committing? Officer, what crime this? Officer, what crime that? It is because some people have heard it before, but they don't know how to use it. You do not use these things on the side of the road. None of what I am saying to you applies to the side of the road. Even though you tell the officer he's not supposed to be issuing any tickets because that is violation of your due process. The officer don't business. The officer, in his mind, he is performing his official duties. And whether or not you are argue with him or tell him whatever, even if you print this out and you show the officer might not even want to see what you have. Okay? He might tell you, just like I hear on a video the other day, you think you know the law. You know too much law. I got ticket you. You cannot stop the officer from issuing a ticket. But guess what? You have something called recourse. You have a remedy. After you get the ticket, there are many things that you can do. And the last thing that you should be doing is waiting until the ticket expires and the court date comes. That is why people keep complaining, because they are waiting until the ticket is expired and they end up in court. And now, when you end up in court, the judge is going to ask you, guilty or not guilty, because you did not prepare for court. You didn't let the court know that you are going to be contesting the ticket. You did not file any documents. You didn't do anything. So the court already deems you incompetent to even handle the matter. Because now the court has to ask you this question and have to now create a court date for you. If you had gotten the ticket and filed the necessary documents in the parish court or in the traffic court and served the police station, you could have simply avoided that long wait for a guilty or not guilty plea and then waiting for another hearing on top of that. You're probably wasting 3 to 6 months right there. You should have prepared yourself so that as soon as you get a ticket, you fill out your necessary documentation, you get the necessary documents JP signed, you go down to the court, you get your stamped copy, you go down to the police station, you serve that copy and get your notice of acknowledgement. Then you bring that back to the courthouse and you wait for the court date. That's how you're supposed to be doing that. Okay? So, now again, we have covered the police cannot issue any civil process, so the ticket is criminal. For those officers who have been debating me under the videos, oh, the ticket is not criminal, oh, the ticket is not a conviction, oh, the ticket is not this. If the ticket was criminal, there would have been an injured party, there would have been a crime that was committed, or there would have been some kind of damage that was assessed. So,
But isn't that common law though?
Jamaica is under common law.
So it's not any commercial or statute derivative?
No, not in a criminal manner. Civil manner is administrative. Right. So, if the officer is not supposed to be issuing the ticket, if you're a part of the Telegram group, you already have access to the templates, right? So, you do with it what you please, right? Also, for those who are asking about the tickets, you get a ticket, what do I do with it? You get a ticket, what do I do with it? Join the Telegram group, and the documents are in the Telegram group. You have templates in there, so you can modify them to whatever you see fit or however way you want to use them. In the Telegram group, you have several topics. On the left side, or on your phone, you might have to click on the top. You have General. You have Jamaica Acts of Parliament, which is where most of the documents are. Matter of fact, let me pull this up. Yeah, what going on, Justin? All right, so this is the Acts of Parliament section. As you can see, there are plenty of documents in here, all right? And these are simply templates or statutory documents that are in the public. So, recently there was an incident about the unlawful seizing of a car. Some of you might have already seen that post. And someone was asking, what can I do if the police seize my car under POCA, the Proceeds of Crime Act? Right? The Proceeds of Crime Act, and I went over this before, it does not authorize the police to seize any car or to confiscate any car without a court order. Everything has to go through the court. The police cannot act on their own under POCA. Okay? So, this is a template Let me bring up this template so you can see. This is a template that you would send, I would send to the Commissioner of Police and also the police station that assigns the ticket or took the car, right? I would fill out the particulars and I would send this notice of unlawful seizure and demand for return and restitution. Again, every situation is different. So if this is your situation, it might help you to send some kind of lawful notice to both the commissioner and the police station so you can get your car back. Right? And this document is just 3 pages. And here it has the sections of the Constitution that apply. It has POCA, and it has the relevant claims that you are making. Right? So you can go through this document, you can see if it applies to your situation, and you can possibly modify it to fit your situation, and you go from there. And at the end here, it has a JP attestation. So this would be a notarized document that you keep a copy of and you send the original to the offending party, which would be the precinct that has your car. Right? Also, if for some reason that document got ignored and you don't hear anything back from the commissioner, you would now put together an affidavit. This is the second document. Right? This is an affidavit that you would put together and you would outline the situation. Again, this is a sample, so it may not apply to your situation. It's just an outline to see how you would go about putting those documents together. And lastly, you have the fixed date claim form. Where is it open? Here we have it. So these are the particulars you would fill out in the fixed date claim form that's in the Civil Procedure Rules 2006. 2006 or 2016? Civil Procedure Rules, I think it's 2006. Yeah, Civil Procedure Rules 2006, right? So in that document, you have the fixed date claim form. And these are the particulars you would attach to that form after you modify it, right? And again, you would need to fit this to your own situation. So you have the fixed date claim form, you have the affidavit in support, and you would file that in the Supreme Court. If I were you, right? So you have all 3 documents right there. They are templates. So it takes a lot of work out of the research and the writing in many cases, and you can fit it to your situation. Again, someone asked about JCF force orders. These are the ones that I could find in the public. I also heard that you might be able to contact the Commissioner's Department to get other force orders or later ones. But these can also suffice. You can reference these because, to my knowledge, these things do not get expired or replaced. Many of them are just newer, but the procedures in them are pretty much the same. Of course, they update it. But an interesting thing in here is the dress code. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick. I don't know if it's this one. Domestic violence. Okay, so this one was about domestic violence. The other one Let's see. Training. All right, I'm not sure which one it is, but in one of the force orders, it was talking about the attire of the officer. I think it was a force order. Let me see this one. Talk about the uniform, what they're supposed to be wearing. It's supposed to have a name badge. It's supposed to have several things. Here we go. Uniform gazetted officers and inspectors. Right? Females. So it's all right, males. Uniform pants. For the males, your haircut must be low and in accordance with force policy. No beards are allowed in uniform. General will not be allowed necklace, chains, bracelets, anklets. Detective and persons wearing plain clothes are expected to be dressed in proper business attire. Right? So, again, you can go through these and it will give you additional details on what the officers should be doing, what their rules are, and how you can bring that up in your case if you so desire. Mr. 6YX Cop, civilians with confidential force orders. The document is labeled confidential, but it is easily accessible via Google search. So it was not obtained from a confidential place, just for your information. Just want to make that clear since you have a comment up there. So you have other examples here of several other documents, but again, we went over those before. You have the Jamaica News Share, where you have different topics that are shared in here. This is Jamaica court cases. Again, these are publicly accessible via the Supreme Court website. And you have the American News Share, which is again American and international news. All right. So there are quite a few sections. If you want to have access to the documents, you join the Telegram group. And also, if you want to chat in the Telegram group, you can also do so. Right? So, anyways, so like we said before, we don't argue. We do not argue with the police. We do not obstruct the police. We do not tell the police what to do. That is not your duty. It is not your job. The police does not have to adhere to anything that you say. You are not the police commander. And even though you are the one who casted your vote to allow the police to be in power, they don't answer to you directly. Okay? Next thing. If the police ask you for your documents, as they say, comply. You comply and you complain later. It is not your duty to be out there arguing with the police officer about anything or trying to stop the police from doing anything. What you want to do is make sure you are always in the right. Let me say that again. You need, or I would make sure that I am always in the right. So the officer never have anything to come against me with. If I am always compliant, I may have my Dashcam running, may have my evidence, may have my audio recording, may not have nothing to worry about. Let the officer go ahead and do what he feels is necessary. Even if the officer decides they're going to get violent, what can you do? Nothing. Okay? So it don't make sense if you try
That is it.
Big up yourself, on the road.
Blessing.
Big up yourself, General. What go on?
Yeah, my G, man, from what day I take it, when me like how you educate the public, you know? That is it, my G.
Yeah, man.
That's
Lawful.
good, man. That is it. Yeah, because majority of time them abuse you out there, because guess what? When I take time out for check out something and know we're right from we're wrong, you know?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's
And
true.
and
True.
it take more than
And
one.
because most people see them with a gun. Most people see them with a gun, you know, so guess what they do? Get scared same time.
Of course.
That is so true. Mm. Reality, my G. So they really abuse power the while, because we out there and we don't really know certain things. So thank God for social media and them things right now. You get me?
Right.
A man can post like you and we get some little information and boy, I have to comment upon that, my G, for real, you know?
Yeah, man.
Remember,
Respect.
yeah, man, my G, man. Remember me tell you, man, you know? Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
And go on,
Definitely.
right. Real, man, for real, my G, you know? Yeah, man.
Yeah, and you know,
Because,
it's a matter of putting everybody on equal footing, you know.
that is so true.
Isn't it? Because at the end of the day, look on it, right?
Yeah.
What I am teaching is not interfering with anyone.
No, none at all.
So if you
None
lawful,
at all.
if you not engage in a no form of criminal activity, you're not nothing to worry
So
about.
true. I have nothing to worry about.
But if you were out there freely,
I swear in our police officer, I try to take it out.
right?
And that, yeah, that's not right. That I be sure you say them now abide by law, you know. So then quick for jump. You see what I say?
But
Winter
some,
in a year,
yeah, but sometimes even sometimes them say one law what them a try use and the law don't exist or the law not apply.
yeah.
But if you don't know, you go along with the same way.
Yeah, go along with it same way. Because them pull up and say, hey, Tom Brown, under section 22. Ooh, most people out there don't know what the hell is section 22.
Right.
They
Exactly.
can't just get
But if you have
They
them
can't-
on record and you later on make a claim, in can't say never say no because it's what is on the recording.
What is on the recording? True.
You
Because
can't
me all
take it
listen
back.
to you. Where I said, me now have a video recording. Me can have a voice recording of the situation will take place.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, man.
Straight. So it's not for
And
criminal
guess what?
and it's not for interfere with anyone. It's just for anybody who get them rights violated. Them can have a way to get restitution.
That is so true. True.
You see me? So a lot of time, me see people come on the page and ask me about criminal things and what if they find gun and what if illegal this and illegal. Brethren, that not have nothing to do with me. Me not that not in my realm. Once you have nothing illegal, this not have nothing to do with you.
No, nothing to do it. See away.
But if you are law abiding citizen and you get your car, you get your insurance, you have everything, and you still get harassed. What the point of that?
See away.
If you not engage in a no criminal activity, why should you be harassed on the road randomly?
That is so true. Harass on the road randomly. Like everyday situation.
Exactly.
Well, some of the laws were set still is not for we, it's for feed off of we trying people, you know. More even say pork and nobody at Jamaica no pork. You man would have said trying people. Nobody at Jamaica no pork. Every man smoke, a man a drink a special. You ever see a man look like him have kwashiorkor yet? And them thing there Africa and them place people pork. Yeah, man. Nobody in Jamaica no poor. Would have say them just trying people, them try. And look at this now. The government say $10,000 for one love. $10,000 for one love put off your car. $10,000. So 4 dog business that is 40,000. You get me? I say,
Right.
so look at, yeah, they make some look law where it don't really make no sense. You get me? I say, some of the time, you wonder. So these police, you don't think what them do it for you, know. You see the police end up on the road and feed off of you, know. Hey, he stop you and he tell you, say, hey, so you know you have to give him a thing, and tell you, you're missing 2 dog now. And you see me, I say, so that's all the laws them set for you know. For the police, them extort civilians, you know. That's all.
But that is not true either, you know.
Hmm?
I'm not true that because if you didn't know the law,
Yeah.
if you didn't know the law, you wouldn't business.
Yeah.
Because
That's true.
as much as people feel like say the law at disadvantage them, you know, it's because you don't know the law. Because if you know the law and you know how
Yeah.
to use the law, it don't matter what the officer do.
That is so true.
Because just
True,
like we
true,
just
true.
shown a while ago, the officer cannot issue, the officer can't issue no civil process. He must prove a crime first. So you getting a ticket, you getting a ticket then now, and you are worried about, yo, this a $10,000, that a $50,000, that a this, that a that. It no matter.
See, no matter. See we.
I just have to
And
people
most,
don't argue, you know.
yeah, and most people not knowing their right. More time just go court and say, I am guilty and just pay the 50 or the 40,000. You see what I say? And even by the case. You know what I say?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
people were out there, I say, boy, me can't explain. If you are going to explain, you can't plead guilty.
You can't plead guilty. You have to say not guilty if you are going to explain, right?
Exactly. Because not guilty don't mean say you're guilty. Not guilty means say you try prove for sure say you're innocent.
Yeah, because all right, look at this now. Those are similar things. I am at a stop sign. Vehicles at a stop sign. 2 vehicles at a stop sign, right?
Right.
We come to this man pull out in the road. He pull out. Me I look, Mrs. said the road clear. 2 vehicles come to a stop, you know. He pull out, Mrs. said the road clear. By the time you look, it's a bike man that can break up on me. Me touch, he touch the back of the vehicle. He made the go on our bum, check out everything, call the police. No police don't come. You wait for police all long and now we can't see the police now. No police don't come. That's boom. We end up go to the station, make a report and all that. Me willing to fix back in vehicle. He might tell me say that boom, me check out the parts for the vehicle. Come to about 70,000 every day. Then he might tell me say him want 200 and must be 70,000, you know. So me say, uncle, it makes sense to go through the insurance and that because me not even see the money there one time. I didn't see it. You see me? I say,
Right.
me not see the money there one time. I didn't spend it for a month. Me not see it one time.
Right.
Because me a kid take care of bills, everything. Just say money come. You see me? I say so cash flow go.
Right.
So he end up that's me. You know we are go through the insurance. The police charge me for careless driving, right? So the police charge me for careless driving now. After the police charge me for careless driving. Me know my first accident, me never know say me insurance that I go through insurance and the police are charging me have to go to court now. Then the police now I go tell me say boy you have to walk with 80,000 at Christmas and me have the kids them. Me not have 80,000. You see my general? Me not
Right.
have 80,000. Because I one time I check the levels. Gunman, you know, at Christmas, gunman stick me up and rob me. You see me? Take away my phone, take away everything from me. You see me? I say, and I forgot to court the next day. You know. So I just have to go to court and I say, not guilty. You see me? I say, me not guilty because I don't understand how we careless part coming at it. No police never come no at all. How me I drive careless. You see me? I say, 2 hours at a stop sign. And I like me I run, I drive fast, I come and couldn't stop. And I go some boom and break and drift mark and all this type of thing. You get me? I say?
Yeah.
Sometimes, remember I tell them, man, sometimes I don't set away. I don't say we not have law, but sometimes they can have a little conscience call that. Them not to me support them to even think about a charge for that. You know what I say? And I like me run, and I like me now plan to fix the vehicle. You know what I say?
Right. But
Yeah, no.
you have to propose something, because if you don't make a proposal to the court, it is up to the court to determine what is fair.
Yeah.
You see me? So,
Yeah,
me nah say everything equal, Don't get me wrong. Enough time the scale unbalanced,
See everything.
But we can't condemn everything for say, boy, the system corrupt.
No, me not say the whole system corrupt. But we
Yeah.
have a whole heap of members in the system were corrupt. Because there has to be rules and regulation that govern a country.
Right.
Let me say, I don't want to do anything wrong and feel like say we have say no rules of it out and you see me I say?
Right.
I just saw the thing go. Rules of it there and thing. But there still becomes a time where they say use discretion. You get me I say?
True.
Am I wrong or right?
Yeah, you're right, but why?
Yeah.
Is it because people don't understand what the system is
Yeah.
and what the system is supposed to be doing? Why you just get subjected to it,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, we.
all our born come here, come see the system here. We are not a part of the rule making process,
That's true.
So if we not a part of the rule making process and we subjected to the rules and we don't know what the rule is, we are get run over more while.
That is so true,
And that bring up an important point, because me hear somebody say, boy, me can't remember everything what you're saying. I can't remember everything with it. Me not tell nobody to remember everything. You learn little by little. Zine? If you don't have the money to get an attorney, then you don't really have a choice, right? But at the end of the day, nobody not supposed to jump up and try. If you say, all right, me have 1, 2, 3 points, me I go run and see if me can get this sort out. You have to learn and know what you do. You see me?
True, yeah.
You have to learn and know what you do. You can't just run in so and just because you hear one thing, you figure say, yes, this is it. So, boy, I'm sorry to hear that, brother, but more while, I know every battle we are going. You see me?
And everyone we are going. Yeah.
No.
True.
So, no matter
how... That one they sound unbeatable.
No matter how good you be, you can't win all the battles. No matter how good you be, you can't win.
That one I mean, you talk, man, that one they sound unbeatable.
That is it. Yeah, man. And even, Mr. Mystic, even with a lawyer, that does not mean you're going to win. Because some situations are simply unwinnable.
That's one. Tell mommy to give you water. That is coming. You want water too? Go get water from mommy, baby. That is coming.
Even. House of Tevin. They say citizens don't have human rights, only civil rights. Can anyone tell me what I mean by that? You're talking about the fact that a citizen is a subject to the government and a human is so-called a free man. Now, that can be true and that can also be not true, because even though you're a member of some kind of corporation or fictional entity like a government structure, that does not mean you don't have any human rights, because you cannot be an agent of the government without being a human being. Is it? So, regardless of whether or not you're a citizen, you're always a human being underneath everything. But that is a topic for another day. You start talking about status. Right. Civil rights have to do with law. And civil rights have to do with certain corporate hats that you wear. Right? But at the end of the day, you cannot be stripped of your human rights unless you are a criminal. That's the only.
No, that's only if you're a criminal, you get stripped of your human rights.
Yes. And even so, you still have to be treated humanely.
Yeah, because they still have rights.
Right. It is just that now your rights can be abridged if you're a criminal. Right? So, it is just a matter of knowing exactly what you're doing and don't go off of assumption, don't go off of presumption. You have to have full knowledge of whatever it is that you feel like you need to assert or whatever position you feel like you are going to take regarding a matter. And like I said, you don't want to use opinions when you come to the law. You always have to come with facts, evidence, or some kind of authority. You are not going to win with opinions. Craig, go on, big up.
Blessings, man.
Yes.
Thanks.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing pretty good, you know.
Great. Love the topics. Love the discussions and the platform that allows people to share their views on particular things.
Yeah, man.
You know, especially the laws and how they relate to us. What I find though is people must be open-minded in terms of their appreciation for new knowledge. So, for example, if it is that you read a particular text, right, and a particular text has a particular perspective, you should broaden your mind to reading other texts as well, so that you have a larger scope and a larger appreciation for the law and how it was a society, right?
Absolutely.
For rights between them.
Your connection break up.
It's a bit of semantics to me, because whichever country that you live in, you hearing me now? Any better?
Yeah, go ahead.
How is that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So your human rights, as a human being, it is accepted that you have certain inalienable rights. Yes.
Right.
However, a lot of that is dependent upon which country you were born in. Right. And so our rights are really defined by, like, for example, this jurisdiction. Our rights are defined by the Constitution and the laws that Parliament has implemented.
Well, not necessarily.
Right? So, well, that is my view.
Okay.
My view is that your rights as an individual are dictated by one, the Constitution that governs the country, as well as the laws implemented by Parliament, right? Because if it is that you are to seek to defend a particular right, when you make that application before a court, for argument's sake, the court is going to look to see, well, is this a right that you enjoy? What's the basis upon which you enjoy this right? Not enjoyed by virtue of the Constitution or by way of some parliamentary legislation. Right? But what's your perspective on it?
Right. So first, I must say yes, definitely appreciate different bodies of law outside of the single jurisprudence of Jamaica. Number two, regarding the rights, now you have something called the enumerated rights that are protected in the Constitution or the Order in Council, and you also have other rights that are not enumerated, but if can be expressed properly, and show that you are one entitled to that right, and two, the right is privileged, meaning you are affected by some action by some other force, then once you can prove it, then that right can be adjudicated, right? It is not necessarily that.
So give me an example. Right. What type of right would fall under that category?
All right. So, for example, all right, if we have, let's say, my right to, let me see, let me go for a good example of an unenumerated right.
Right.
All right. If I said that I want to sing in my house, right? And
Yeah. Right.
the singing is confined within the walls, but obviously we know sound will traverse the building if someone is singing loudly.
Yeah, man.
So now, if the singing go across to my neighbor and the neighbor considers it a disturbance, right?
Right.
And the neighbor let me know that, hey, you know, I appreciate you singing, but can you tone it down a little bit? Right?
Right.
Now, I am still singing, you know, but I'm singing low, meaning it is not what's called a high audible pitch that can be considered a disturbance per se, but someone else feels that it is a disturbance to them. Right?
Right.
That is not an enumerated right to say, you know, you can sing or you can make an audible tone within your private property, you know, and anyone else have to comply with it. There's no such thing. There is something in the public that states that if someone has a disturbance and you are causing the disturbance, it might be a breach of some rule or regulation. Right?
Right. It would be classified as a nuisance.
Right. Now, so you see, that is kind of like, you know, somewhat of a gray area. But if that was brought to court where someone says you consistently keep doing that, but then the court is determining that, okay,
Right.
how loud is this thing to be considered a nuisance? It is not necessarily loud
Right.
enough where everybody is complaining. It's just this one individual. But to them, it's a nuisance. To you, you want to express freely within your private property. You can claim that.
Right. Yes. So essentially, the person who is claiming the nuisance would have to indicate to the court that your use of your premises is infringing upon their right to quietly enjoy theirs.
Right.
So it is the law. So something like that. No, using the example you gave, there is a section of the law called the law of tort,
Right.
where things like nuisance. So essentially, it is implied that each of us owe a duty of care to each other,
Right.
not to infringe upon each other's rights. Yeah. And so, if it is now that you are using your home, you're dwelling, you're singing in your house, the person making the claim would have to have some sort of evidence to show to the court, some sort of decibel meter or whatever,
Right.
to show that even though you have a right to use your home as you so desire, you cannot use it to the extent that it is now infringing upon the other person's right of quiet enjoyment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying there are certain enumerated rights and there are some that are implied. It's not necessarily written down, right? And it only
Right.
comes into play when you have either claims of some sort against
Yeah.
that right. Then you now have to defend that right.
Right. So essentially, the person therefore would have to look at precedence in the courts. How have courts treated similar issues in the past?
Right.
Yeah. And the interpretation of those issues and how could they use those prior rulings now to support their particular positions. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. Within the same
Cool.
framework, correct.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Right. And what was it, the last part of what you were saying?
I don't remember. What was I saying?
But that being said as well, right? You know, this is why even in some of the definitions, I don't stick strictly with one dictionary or one court case or one simple this, one simple that, because at the end of the day, one authority by itself may not hold enough weight to show precedential or authority value, right?
Right. Yeah,
To
man. So it's
completely win over a decision by the court.
right, which is why if anybody in the chat here has ever seen what they call a bundle looks like. So when you're preparing for court and preparing for a trial, or if even if you're making legal submissions, a part of those submissions you will also include the precedents you're relying on, and it's a whole ream of whole heap of cases that you're putting forward to support your argument. So you
Right.
have to broaden the scope of your mind. Think about things that happen locally. Think about things in other jurisdictions within the Commonwealth who will have a similar jurisprudence, a similar legal system. Look at how
Right.
those judges came to their conclusions, and then they're going to marry it now to the particular issue you're faced with locally. So yeah, man, we have to broaden the scope, man, and read more. Don't just stick slavishly to one document that you got your hands on. You have to open your mind and read.
Exactly.
Yeah, man,
Man,
cool.
that diversity is definitely something that is essential and required.
Yeah, man, absolutely. All right, so I'm gonna free up the spot.
Yeah, man, no problem. Thank you again for the input.
Yeah, man, cool. Blessings.
Big up. So, people, there you have it. And another intelligent mind that overstand how you go about comprehending documents, how you go about putting an argument together, how you go about putting things in the court. We haven't really gotten there yet as far as putting together something like a tort claim or something on the level of actually deliberating a case. What we've been talking about is contesting the ticket, right? And when you're contesting the ticket, it is somewhat of an easier venture, but you have to start somewhere. I'll go and use that. Big up yourself.
Yeah, man, big up, man. The on the page, I check in the most time. I get some good information. I get to put them in action yet still, but I want to share something with you quickly.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if I should have say something happened to my brother. Probably about 3 weeks ago, and I say we have the system set up. I don't know if it's a case I could have, well, I guess I would have to go sue the state because he was partially arrested. The man pay one ticket. And it's like the police, them come for the man, say him have outstanding, have him in a courthouse, deprive him from him job and him earnings about up to 6 o'clock. And when him present the paid receipt to the court, not even as much as sorry, then just turn him free figure. And what kind of system this? So me I say, is there any grounds for a lawsuit with them kind of something, yeah?
So no ticket was issued?
No, he got a ticket, but he had paid it.
Oh.
And I don't know what happened, but it's showing that the system say an outstanding. Just like myself, the other day I get so paranoid about the whole of this. So I had paid some previous ticket back then. So I went to the traffic office and asked them to run my license and see what was there for me. Them said them see outstanding for me from 2018, but there is no warrant or anything out there. So I said, what the hell? You know what I mean? From 2018?
Right. Well,
so I said, why not? I don't know. I can't wrap my head around this any at all.
Right. Tashi, big up yourself. So you see, in these situations, all right. Let me clarify something for a lot of people who are inquiring. Right. When it comes to situations like these, where you have mistakes happening and you end up being treated unfairly for some reason, right? It is not necessarily an easy task to just go in there and file a claim. Let me say that again.
See.
It is not easy to just go and sue somebody, especially without an attorney.
I see what
So-
you mean.
Mhm.
And then not to add to that, it was not so long ago, one of the same thing happened to a relative of mine. They actually put handcuff on him and lock up the man. That's it.
Right, and
I mean,
those
on many
kind of
occasions.
things, and those kind of things are unlawful arrests, malicious prosecution, all sorts of different things, But like I said, even though we are working to get to that point where people are going to be able to do their own due diligence, they are going to be able to do a lot of these things. It is not a simple 1, 2, 3, because when you, let's say for example, you have all the document templates, you have all of your stuff together, you file your case. The documents alone will not help you in court, You're still going to have to talk.
Definitely.
You have to know procedure. You're going to have to know what to say, how to address the court, how to present your argument, how to present your authority, how to create your opening statement, how to land your closing statement, and how to demand restitution.
Definitely so.
So it is not just a matter of just file paperwork, and then yes, we're good to go. We have a good argument.
That's probably, but that's the reason why many of these incidents just actually, people just go inside there. They are brought before the court for something that they have already settled, and probably they just, like you say, it's not something that they just go in and just like, it's like a slap on the wrist or like cutting a slice of cake.
Right. But that doesn't mean it's impossible, and that doesn't mean that it's too difficult. It's just that it takes time to learn how to do all of that.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Because I guess if you can't present yourself, the court will just have its way with you and run all over you.
Right.
With your fancy terms and all of that.
Yeah,
I call him a fancy term.
You. Now we have to cut down on Jeremy, but we have one question I want to pertaining to the unlawful season. I see a repost up a video they want to lie when they talk about the police will seize the man Benz and can't fit take back that cigar. So is there a way that the EU can file a counter lawsuit for all on the police seize the vehicle for?
Yes, you can, but it wouldn't be a counter lawsuit. It would be a tort claim.
Tort claim.
Yes. And
Okay, so,
that you would have to put your whole case file together. It is not just 1 or 2 documents. It's typically 5 or more documents you need to file with your claim.
Okay. So when you're in the talk about the license pertaining to driving and traveling, the difference. So pertaining to that now, with the car. So the car would have to be like license insured to drive on public road and stuff, or don't have to license to the government to drive on the public road. If it's not licensed or insured to drive on the public road, then Goja attached to the police and go and seize it.
Right.
So, yeah.
No, the answer is yes and no. Alright. So now with everything, as them say, with great knowledge comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
So you do not need a license, you do not need a license plate, you don't need any of that. But again, in order for you to go about your business like that, it doesn't just take knowledge, it takes action. So I am not going to teach that as yet.
Okay.
Because so many people are going to try to take shortcut and they're going to get themselves in problems.
Yeah.
So the right thing to do right now is to go the proper route and do everything as you need to do it. And then when you are violated, Then you go ahead and do the necessary processes
Yeah.
to get
Okay.
back your
So
restitution. For example, you're asking about unlawful confiscation of a car,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The police take your car and then claim, say, for example, they are using the Proceeds of Crime Act to suspect that this Mercedes Benz or whatever the case is might be something that is gotten from illicit gains.
Yeah.
They don't have any evidence. They don't have any kind of case going. They don't have anything from the DPP. They don't have anything. They just claim to them suspect you or your car to be something from criminal activity. So them take the car, them have it there for months, then them tell you come for.
Yeah.
Now in that case, of course you can file a tort claim because the Proceeds of Crime Act do not give the police any power to act independently. Isn't it?
So in that claim, would it have to be USD or GMD?
No man, it would be in Jamaican dollars. Whatever the local currency is, that's what you would put in the claim.
Okay. So firstly, with that note, so when it talks about when you're driving your private vehicle, which is a white plate, you can put on the stickers they can put on the front and the back, not for higher where it talks about that. So
Right.
before so what do you happen what there with the tilt? Okay, you know me I'm private vehicle white plate, you got on the front tilt and whole car tilt up, you know. So me I drive into power couple police and tap me 194 window them and outside the window make certain so they see some man no have nothing in a man or anything and then it talks said they go seize my vehicle if me don't take off the tilt off of my car. Which
Okay.
me I try to explain to them say a private vehicle and so but they didn't care they still want to take you. So in order for that now, is there another way if you can go around that? You can explain them. Come in and say we are
No.
not there to teach them anything. I'm just hearing them explain that a few minutes ago. So more understand more pertaining to that. Because if
Right.
you're in a private vehicle, you know, your private vehicle is different from a public vehicle, you know. That's why they got the red plate and the white plate. And you
All
got the
right.
business plate different.
So so hold on. Yeah, we're addressing multiple things here. First
Yeah,
things
yeah.
first. The the excuse that you give to the officer was incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have a private car that is not used for commerce, that don't mean that you can tint the car. That is not why you can tint the car.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, the Road Traffic Regulations 2022 is what you would use to cite for the tinting. It's called transparent material. Let us look up transparent material. Right?
Yeah.
So that we look for the right thing. Hold on. All right, the search now work good. So let's see. Transparent. All right, maintenance of transparent material. Material on windscreen. So this is section 62 of the road traffic regulation. So let's take a look at that. And we went over this already, you know. You're probably new here.
Yeah, me just hear the thing that pop up because normally me always dep on Abantu Zulu live they learn some things about film, but in mostly they talk about sovereign documents and anything like that. Putting
Okay.
into the normal life, we need something more putting into that.
Yeah, we're not talking about none of
Yeah,
that. We're not
yeah.
go upon none of them something there.
Yeah, because him I wanna see him followers that always happen in life encounter in a unlawful season of one car. So then they deal with that the documents and I'm seeing in post up and so might send it to you later make a review you understand what they might talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back to the tint now. Right?
Yeah.
This is section 62 of the road traffic regulations. And as you can see here, it gives you the title on the left side. It says material of windscreen, window, and partition. So, specifically here, it says a motor vehicle having a windscreen, window, or partition made of transparent material shall not be operated on a road unless. You still with me?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
All right. The material affords the driver sufficient visibility for safe driving of the motor vehicle. So, the first question is, does the tint affect your driving ability? No, may I ask you, does the tint affect you driving?
No, not
Okay.
at all.
So, 62(1)(a) say it is you can't operate the vehicle unless you can see properly from the tinting of the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And who determines this? Who determines who can see through the vehicle and who can't see through the vehicle?
Me, the driver.
Exactly.
Right, about that.
So the police cannot stay from outside the car and tell you, say, the tint is in violation of the Road Traffic Act or the Road Traffic Regulation. He has no way of knowing that because he's not the one operating the car. You see what it says? It shall not be operated on a road unless the material affords the driver. So this is telling you that it is the driver that has to know if he has sufficient visibility for the safe driving of the motor vehicle. B, in the case of a windscreen, other than a windscreen fitted to a motorcycle, the material complies with paragraph A. So again, it tell us, once you can see through the tint and you don't have a problem driving,
Yeah.
you're good to go. C, the transparent material is safety glass and every pane is permanently marked with the name or trademark of the manufacturer or the trade name of the glass and is clearly identifiable by a permanent mark as safety glass. Who determined this?
Me, driver.
Either the driver or some place that does inspections.
The examiner.
The examiner. A police officer has no duty here. Number 2, notwithstanding subparagraph B and C of paragraph 1, the transparent material used in the construction. No, let me go back to this here because some people don't realize what this is saying, you know. This is talking about the original glass that come with the car. So if the glass come with a tint, this is what it is talking about. Yes, it tells you right here in C, the material is safety glass and it has a permanent mark. That means that it comes from the manufacturer, so. Right? Now, let's go down. 63, it is talking about maintenance of transparent material. So this is for the people who are going to tint up them car. It says the owner or driver, as the case may be, of a motor vehicle shall ensure that all transparent material fitted to the motor vehicle is maintained in such condition as not to obscure the vision of the driver. So what that means is, as long as the tint is not blurring your vision, where you cannot see where you're going, you should not have a problem because you are the only one who can determine if your vision is blurred. Does that make sense? So that covers that.
Hello.
Well, go on, Tashi.
Good evening. I'm not sure if it was true. That person was true.
Well,
I'm not.
You go ahead.
All right, so I'm having an issue and I need some help here as it regards to information. All right, so I was driving on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
um, and after I approached a stoplight, I came through the stoplight, just following the colors going on it. There was some police with some speed gun coming out and maybe checking for speed. I was pulled over.
Mm-hmm.
When I was pulled over, the policeman approaching me did not come over on the driver's side. He came over to the side where my husband was sitting. And I said to him, ask him to just come around. And the first thing he said to me, "Can I have your documents, please?" So I just really want to know where I stand here because I thought that he should have, introduced himself and let me know the reason why I was stopped and all of that. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to go through that. But I presented my documents to him. When I presented my documents to him, he checked them. No, I had an incident where something fell on my car. I was driving behind them big truck with the stones and all of that.
Yeah.
I was not very close enough, but probably because of the rock here, the road, and stone began to fly. Immediately one came and a small stone came and caused a little crack on the windscreen.
Right.
No, I knew about the crack because I was driving and I realized it happened. No, I did not really know that it was an offense. I honestly did not know. No, there's a tinting on my windshield right there. It's not too far down, but they are saying that it's an offense because it come down too much. And I was explaining to the police officer because I had been through a multiple surgeries with my eyes. The tinting act as a visor to shield my eyes from the sun. Before I was prescribed glasses. So, at that point in time, that act as a visor to prevent my eyes. So he checked the documents and all of that. And then now he said to me, that there's a crack on the glass. And I said, yes, the incident recently happened. And I was going now to get a phone card, just to call around to say, oh, best I can replace the glass. He immediately said to me, this is a $10,000 ticket though. Me for go write you one $10,000 ticket. I said, excuse me. And him say, yeah, I forgot write me the $10,000 ticket and all of that. However, upon him possessing my documents and all of that, when he was through, because he went to the car, the police car and whatever, and he printed up the ticket and all of that. I said to him, so I really want to take the ticket right now because, this is beyond my control. And I explained to you that I was on my way now to purchase a phone card to say how best I can call around because it's really not my intention to really go. But I did not know that it was an offense. All right. I said to him, can I have my documents, please? Are you through with my documents? He said, yes. I said, can I have my documents? The man literally legged the documents and the ticket on the ground for me to pick them up, like literally drop them on the ground.
Oh boy.
To pick it up. I went down and I took up my documents. The breeze blow said, honestly, me really never did want the ticket. Let me just be frank, straightforward and fair in speaking. Me never really want a fight for pick up the ticket because I did not want my documents to blow away. Right? So the first thing I been done to take up was my documents for the car and my driver's license. And him say, see, I made the ticket a blow. I say, you did not hand me any ticket, officer. You did not hand me a ticket. So now I want to know where I stand because him depend. I don't know if him know me from somewhere, but him address me in a certain type of way. You're lucky, and it make you not go pay it by the time 1 month time and say if you're not gonna get handcuffed by your honor, you're gonna appear before the court. And this was his attitude. And I said to him, but you're not even supposed to be addressing me like that. Because one, I saw you guys come out with a speed gun and I was not speeding. I had on my seat belt, and then no, my documents are very up to date. So I don't know what reason I was stopped. When I stopped, no, you found that reason to tell me that the reason why you're giving me a ticket was because of the crack on my windscreen. So I wish you could help me to walk me through and advise me best how I can go about this.
Okay. Boy, I'm sorry you went through that situation, but as I will again tell everyone I do not give legal advice. I can only say what I would do in a situation such as this.
Yes.
Okay. So first things first, were you a part of the first part of the live?
No, I recently came on. When you mentioned my name was when I just came on.
Okay. So what we were discussing earlier in the live was this section of the Constabulary Force Act. This is the Constabulary Force Act, right?
Yeah.
And when you get this document from whatever source, the Telegram group or online, you will have section 13 here that outlines the duties of the police, right? So if we go down to section 13, I'm going to read it one more time for Tashi. Section 13 outlines the duties of the police, the duties and powers of the force. It says, the duties of the police under this act shall be to keep watch by day and by night, to preserve the peace, to detect crime, apprehend or summon before a justice persons found committing any offense. And people, when you see the word offense, it is always in reference to criminal activity. So, persons found committing any offense or whom they may reasonably suspect of having committed any offense or who may be charged with having committed any offense, to serve and to execute all summonses, warrants, subpoenas, notices, and criminal processes issued from any court of criminal justice or by any justice in a criminal matter, and to do and perform all the duties appertaining to the office of a constable. So all of this in 13, under the duties and powers of the force, the constable can only issue criminal processes. Now, the rest of it says, we'll make sure that when I see the screen.
Lawful to employ any member of court in the service of a civil process.
All right. I'm glad you read that part there. So, is the ticket criminal or civil?
So civil.
Okay, but right here, so it is saying it shall not be lawful to employ any member of the force in the service of a civil process. So is the police acting lawfully?
No.
Okay. So if the police is acting unlawfully, does the ticket have any validity?
No. And him stand up and watch it blow away too. That the part they had me. Because me I say, you throw them on the ground and tell me to pick them up, and then now you're gonna tell me say. And if you know if you're not pay by the time 1 month time, try make sure you're gonna go in a handcuff and you're gonna go before the court and all of that. And we have remember that we have the law to back us. I said, but God is not sleeping. You have the law to back you. I have God to back me, because at the end of the day, God saw when you throw down my documents, and God understand that I did not. If I had known, I'm being honest with you, sir. If I had known that it was an offense, you know, I was fearful. Right? So it's not a criminal activity. So I don't know why I was being treated like that. So I'm not sure if I should just go and contest it. If I could just, I don't even know the date of the court. I don't have the ticket. I don't know what to do right now. I swear.
Well, you see, when was the ticket issued?
Friday. It was on Friday. Good Friday.
Okay. So, unfortunately, you will not have any details until most likely, well, if you know what precinct issued the ticket, what police station, you can go down there, or you can call down there and find out, ask them if they can run your name. And it might come up in their system.
So is it possible I can go to the tax office to find out that?
Yes, you can check with the tax office to see if the ticket show up. Usually, I guess them say within a week or two.
Okay.
right?
I'm
Your
asking him his name. You know, just trying to say, well, can I have your name, sir?
No, 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 no. You do not demand anything of the officer. If he write your ticket, his name is already gonna be on the ticket,
No,
right?
no, that was before he went to do the ticket, you know.
Right. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Okay.
That's why I tell everyone you have to get a dash cam. You have to get a dash cam. If you see the thing is, the more you talk to the officer, the more problems you're gonna get into. You can also look it up online. Justin just remind us. You can also look up Jamaica traffic ticket on Google, and you will most likely find a page that you can type in your name or whatever, and you can pull up if there's a ticket out there for you.
Okay.
Right? But just remember, the details of the officer does not matter.
Okay.
The circumstances do not matter. Once you have the law, that is all that matters. Okay? So if a ticket is issued, you simply contest the ticket and you provide the reason why you're contesting the ticket, which is simply the officer does not have any authority to issue the ticket because you are not a criminal, and the officer does not have any authority under the Constabulary Force Act to be issuing civil process.
Yes.
And on top of that, the Constabulary Force Act does not give the police any authority to write any such ticket. If you look at the top of any ticket, it says Constabulary Force that is issuing the ticket. They don't have any power to do that. So, you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, and you see it for yourself.
Yes, I'm seeing it where the information been you just gave us the information.
So I would suggest you write it down. So you have it for your information, section 13 of the Constabulary Force Act.
You said I can Google that and
You can Google the Constabulary Force Act.
okay.
Night.
Section 2.
Excuse me. Night.
Yeah, man, Fanta, what go on?
Yeah, she can go on ticket lookup. Go on ticket lookup and use her license and follow the instruction and choose find out about the ticket.
Okay.
Ticket lookup. Okay. And I can also get this information on the Constabulary Force, this one in section 13.
The Constabulary Force Act. Yes.
Act. And probably just write it down and have that. Because if you ever see my boss himself for me, yes, there's nothing wrong. We can go. Oh, you got
No, don't write it down. Print it out.
Print it. Get it printed out, yes.
Yeah. Print out just these 2 pages, section 13. And bring it with you.
Yeah,
You're contesting a ticket.
Yeah, big boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things what she can do to still, even though maybe she don't want to go with them, they still in the ways. If she nearby one of the police station, them she can just go to the traffic office and make them run her license and then can pull up all the info what she have. Because I mean, if I do that one time, one long time, I have to do it. But she can't, she have option, so she can choose the option that she suggested.
Right.
Yeah, man, because them can't do it. The traffic officer at any one of the police station, them can run the license and them can't tell her why go on the license, why go on with the license. If she choose that option. Say again?
There would be a date on it to go to court?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, man, they can tell her everything. Once you go to the traffic office with the license, they can just look at it. Even if you have a thing, I believe them can also use a TRN and tell you what's happening. No, TRN? Let me say, I don't know what's the TRN, but I know what they do to the license. They can tell you everything what's going on. If you have a ticket outstanding, you have to go to court and the whole 9 yards. Once you issue a driver's license, they can tell you what's going on if you give them that at traffic office, at any police station.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can explore the option and choose whichever suits you best, you know?
Right.
Yes, man, and I'm so grateful for the information.
Yeah, man, anytime. And someone...
So, back to awareness pertaining to the tilt now. So, one of the things they're active, so we can drive with the tilt without with the same stuff when I explain to me, I just explain it to them. But if they do give me a ticket, I can just contact the ticket, right? With the same information.
Right, because sometimes the officer them not go take no talk, you know.
Yeah, none of them not take no talk. And me no want engage in no type of aggressive way or the try to explain to them or stuff. So if they take no talk, write the ticket and
Right.
and just deal with that.
Exactly.
So with the ticket now I'm going to court now. Me can find a suit for my time and
No,
for the court.
not when you're contesting the ticket.
Oh, like after if we ticket dismissed, right?
Right. So let me
It would
address
have,
this again. You see, the reason you cannot claim anything when you're contesting a ticket is because you already have a judgment from the ticket being
against
issued.
you.
Let me say that again. The reason you cannot counterclaim a
Yeah,
ticket when you go to court is because the officer already issued a judgment by writing the ticket.
yeah.
Me know it not make sense to a lot of people, you know. It
No, me
not make
understand.
sense,
Yeah.
it not click. Because you don't watch the daily dose of law. I explained to you guys and I read it from the legal dictionary already. The police derive their power from the court. It is not from the Constabulary Force Act. The police is an officer of the court. And when the police issue a ticket, that is a court order. That's why the only way for you to rectify the ticket if you don't decide to pay is to go to court. It is one system. So, if you want to claim back anything, you first have to get the ticket dismissed. Let's see what it's a clarification. What in the event they see you again and give you a ticket for the same offense? Tint. So, for a second offense, remember, you know, we just went over the fact that a ticket is a criminal offense that is being issued. A ticket is saying that you're a criminal. That is the only thing a police can do. Issue criminal processes and summonses. It's not me say that, it's the Constabulary Force Act. Now let's go to the Constitution. Right? Now, this is section 16.7. Yes, General DC, Tash, you need to go fix that crack there in your windscreen. It's dangerous. Section 16, protection of due process rights. All right? 7. Let's go down to 7. What does it say? An accused person who is tried for a criminal offense or any person authorized by him in that behalf shall be entitled, if he so requires, and subject to payment of such reasonable fee as may be prescribed by law, to be given for his own use within reasonable time after judgment a copy of any record of the proceedings made by or on behalf of the court. This is the so-called traffic ticket that was issued by the officer. That's what 7 is talking about. Right? Now if we go to 9, you can't see the number them. 7, 8, and 9. Number 9 say what? No person who shows. People, when you not get on a ticket, when you not get anything from the court, a dismissal or anything like that, take a picture of it and email it to yourself. Take a picture of it, send it to your computer. Keep your records. I'm not going to say it again. All right. No person who shows that he has been tried by any competent court for a criminal offense and either convicted or acquitted shall again be tried for that offense or for any other criminal offense which he could have been convicted at the trial. Want to hear that? The question was, if I got a ticket for a tint, can I get another one? No, it is invalid automatically. Any ticket where you get, and you get the same ticket again one next time. No, you have to go to court and contest the first one. Let me say that again. When you get a ticket, this is why it is important to go contest it. Because the protected right here is saying that once it is within a court of competent jurisdiction, so the officer giving you a ticket is not in a court. So if you just pay the ticket, that means that you're going to get the tickets over and over and over again. But if you contest it in court and the court dismiss the matter, or if you pay the matter, it doesn't matter what happened in court. But once it go to court, you cannot be tried or convicted again for the same offense. And again, this is the Constitution of Jamaica, or the Order in Council 1962, Section 16(9). So, that should answer that question for you. And another reason for you to always contest your ticket. So let's say, for example, you get a speeding ticket. And you contest the ticket. When you get the dismissal or the conviction and then tell us, pay 10,000 or 15,000, whatever it is, you need a copy of that. You need to save that somewhere. If you get another speeding ticket, you simply go back to the court and you explain to the judge, the ticket is invalid because you were already convicted of speeding. General DC say, don't take the information provided the wrong way. Don't misinterpret. Okay, General DC, if you say so. I know me I say so. The Constabulary Force Act already told us the police can only issue criminal processes. And the Jamaica Constitution is telling us we cannot be convicted twice. So however way you want to take it, go right ahead. And people, maybe this is what he meant. Do not go out there trying to commit criminal offenses. This is not to encourage anyone to go out there speeding and doing all of these different things. Because there is a caveat to all of that. If you are deemed to be a danger to the public, if you cause some kind of public disturbance, or if you cause some kind of public damage, the court can disregard this section. Let me say that again. If you commit a common law crime, meaning you damage some kind of property or you damage someone or injure someone, the court can disregard the double jeopardy clause, which is saying that you cannot be tried the same for the same offense. So do not go out there trying to just run around as if you're not in a sense. Okay? Not because this is here, that does not mean that it is unequivocal and ironclad. This is section 16(9) of the Constitution, or the Order in Council 1962. So, what I just mentioned was something that is lesser used, but it is something to stop malicious prosecution from happening. Right? Because sometimes you will have situations where an officer will come back and say, oh, you know, so remember this? Oh, you know, so this did happen? And they try to drag people back into court for the same matter just because they have a grudge or they have a lapse in memory or whatever the case may be. So This is to protect against those kinds of things. And as a matter of fact, somebody, I think last month, ran into that situation where he ended up in court, and the police officer did not make any allegation, but stand in open court and said there was something else. And because the man did not know how to properly object to that statement, he was subjected to the court telling him he has to come back for a trial because the officer made a claim on the spot. So that's why I tell people, while you have protected rights, you can only get the protection if you know what the right is. You cannot be going around looking for quick fixes. That is why I have the page. You have many videos there that are teaching you what exactly you can learn, what exactly you can do. Okay? But don't expect that you're going to have 1 or 2 video that is going to be the silver bullet to kill the fox. You have to learn this stuff. You have to learn what the words mean. You have to learn what exactly you have as a right, what you have that is protected, and you also have to learn how to talk. In the next coming weeks, we're going to start having some mock trial. I mentioned that earlier. So if you guys want to role play, I don't mind being a judge. I don't mind being, the adverse party or whatever the case may be. See? But
Big boss, look at me. I'm going to be the unalive Johnny Cochran.
yeah, man. Yeah, man.
All right, that sounds good. That sounds good. At least, yeah, man. That we sharpen up. That we sharpen me up.
Yeah, man. Because
I mean to cut. Yeah, because I mean to cut you after, but quite often time you have the privilege to go in the courtroom, them and so for some reason, the judge most time asks people if them have lawyer and it's like Shattle says, listen man, me no want hear you, if you're not a lawyer, me not entertain. Well, I know probably is in the best interest of you maybe get a lawyer, but me don't know if me stupid will say this. I mean, sometimes I guess you can try and represent yourself. It's your story, and you would have probably tell it to somebody, as you would have said. Them know the legal terms of how present themselves because we illiterate to the whole thing most of the time. So, I mean, in that case, the judge always say, get a lawyer. Maybe it's in on your own best interest to say that. I mean, would you agree? What you take on that?
Well, all right. For first, I'm going to address your question. First, for those of you who want to join the Telegram group, you would download the Telegram app from your app store. It's called Telegram Chat. And then you would search for 876 Rights. That is the name of the Telegram group. It has a Jamaican flag symbol. So once you search and you see the symbol, then you know that is the correct group. You can join. And there is no restriction to the access. Even if you're a police officer, you can go in there and see all the documents that are listed in there. Now, to address your question regarding the court and the judge's suggestion that you get an attorney. Sometimes they insist that you get an attorney. It is not a stupid question. So what is happening is that when a layman goes into court, the judge has to convert what you are saying into legal language. When you say something that does not apply in law, meaning you don't have a proper lawful claim or you don't have a proper lawful argument or a proper lawful defense, then the judge has to now determine whether or not he's going to consider what you're saying. Because if you have, let's say for example, you walk into court and you have a video of the police officer or some other party doing something and it is what we call incriminating evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
The court already created a process, for everybody to go through so it can make things faster and make things more efficient. So everybody's supposed to be doing the same thing. You now just walk in with your video footage and you try explain outside of the process and lengthening everything. The court or the judge is going to get increasingly frustrated. Because that is not how the legal process is supposed to work. So instead of you saying, for example, you know, say, me go down the road and me I come back and the man start run me down and then he take my phone and he take my wallet and then me thump him in the ears and me take back my phone. You get me? I say all that explaining in legal language, it would have simply be someone, this gentleman here, the police apprehended him because of the assault that he caused to me and thereby causing damage. Done.
Done. Legal framework and terms and language, brother.
Right. So
I get you.
it is not that, you know, they are being capricious or being mean, but again, it is not fair to the common man because we were not taught that from the get-go. We're not taught that in a school. Nobody now give us that information. And unless you go to school, you won't know how to talk legal language.
Yeah, I believe you.
So the only other alternative is for somebody learn and then start teach everybody else.
I'm with you, and trust me, I am making darn use of this portal, you know. Sometimes, yeah, man, I tell you, because when I see it come up, I just reach home right now, I'm soup, me boil, but my soup can't boil good, because I have to do it on the portal.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
So, again,
Definitely.
it is not that the judge them and the attorney them I say, boy, get an attorney. It is not that per se them just a look business. It is because they can put things a certain way and sometimes make an argument that you wouldn't even think about. And present it to the court. And you will get your money's worth in many cases. Get what I'm saying? But there are certain things, they have certain limitations. Right? Certain limitations that they have, we would not have those limitations. We don't have to answer to nobody. We're not a part of any corporate body or corporate group. We don't have no regulated system where we have to adhere to other than the rules. So
I'm with you on that, 100%.
Right. So at the end of the day, I will never tell somebody not to get an attorney. But at the same time, all right, Tashi, big up yourself. At the same time, it is beneficial to learn these things for yourself so you don't have to keep hiring an attorney, and especially if you end up in multiple situations. It is always good to know, even if you don't represent yourself, right? You can still learn along the way, and you can give, if you get an attorney, you give the attorney better information because you know how to articulate yourself.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Definitely.
When you're armed with the info, like I would agree with that. You're better able to articulate, and then the attorney can then go and present what you're articulating. When you're armed with, when you at least know, if you even know the average, or less than the average, then the attorney definitely can more better represent. I would agree with that. Trust me.
Exactly. So again, I am never gonna bash an attorney. I am never gonna say the attorneys are bad. I'm not gonna say any of that. You know, there are many people are of the mindset that the attorney them work with this and them work with who and whatever. Yes, the attorneys are first an officer of the court, just like the police. But at the end of the day, the attorney is there to make a living. And sometimes if the attorney keep on losing, what do you think gonna happen? You might go out of business just like anybody else.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily in their best interest to lose. But sometimes when you have matters like going up against the state, there are not many attorneys out there who are going to take on that job. So it is in your best interest.
Definitely. Nobody likes to go up against the state. Because then say hard. I don't know if you would agree to this. The state, trust me, when I go up against the state, it's like you're going up a creek without a paddle, brother.
Well, if you don't know what to do, yes.
Yeah, you know. People is always like really reluctant to challenge the state, you know. Because them say the state is like they they deem that they are never being dealt with fairly. So I don't know if that's the notion that I got, because I revolve around people who's in the judicial system, and they have the notion that people is afraid to challenge the state because they feel that they are never dealt with fairly. You know, so I don't know. I don't know if it's here an idea. I've never definitely have anything to challenge them on a legal basis. But that's just something that I picked up along the way.
Right. Well, there is always some truth to a rumor, I know. A rumor don't just start spread because of nothing.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
at the end of the day, somebody had to experience some kind of wrong in order to start bash the establishment. You know? So, yes, it is difficult to go up against the state, but it is only difficult when we don't know, because once you start learning something, you know, it's like riding a bicycle, you know.
Yeah.
Once you get momentum and you go in there enough time, trust and believe. It is just that you want enough information and enough ammunition going in there.
Yeah. You know when they said that, what just clicked to me? When you are stopped by a police there and then on this pattern, they realize that you have some amount of literacy to the law. It's like you throw them in our friends, like, you know, they get confused and, like, you know, off balance. Like you say, when you know, I guess you just can't challenge anybody.
Right.
I see. Yeah, I see it play out, especially when it comes to police stopping motorists.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it don't, you know.
Yeah, true.
Because there are some officers, them polite, then come and them explain themselves, them tell you who they are and where they're coming from and etc. etc. But there are some officers, them don't want to hear nothing. Them tell them morning, then they tell you good day, them just say documents or whatever. And them just move forward.
We call him cowboy in a uniform, you know.
But you see, that is dangerous, you know, but they don't realize that yet.
Yeah, man, a cowboy in my uniform, man.
They don't realize how dangerous that is, because you go ahead, you know, and you just out there, you figure, say, you know what, something? Me I issue 50 tickets today, you know. Anybody may pull over and find any little thing for ticket them for. Now, you get called to court and you don't know, yeah, say, ratted. One of them really contest the ticket? Sure. And then they start ignore certain things, them now follow processes, them now do whatever. And you end up in court. You beat the ticket, and then now you have a reason to file a tort claim against the entire state because you have a malicious prosecution.
Yeah. And then there's another thing that me always ask myself. Except maybe in the case where probably somebody may endanger life and property, if the police see you, let's say you stop. Well, I wouldn't say stop. You may go against a yellow line. When we know if you stop a yellow line or park a line, but you might maybe slow down, maybe I'll grab something quickly. And a policeman just come down upon you and say, all right now, you're obstruct traffic, and it's not like then give you a warning. Isn't it a case where they're supposed to have some amount of lenience where they can just warn you and tell you, say, hey, look here, man, you can't stay here. So, but other than just come down and just being harsh and just ticket you there and then. Like then nothing can say, all right, just move. You can't stay here. So most times it's not like that. From my experience, them just, well, not for all police. Some police will tell you, but isn't there a case where they can say, all right, let you have a warning and just like one always an issue ticket? Isn't there a case? Isn't that they are supposed to do that, or they just give ticket like you say?
We're gonna go back to the Constabulary Force Act. It does not matter as long as you are not committing a crime. The police is not supposed to be coming up to you. Let me say that again.
Well,
as long as you are not committing a crime, the police can claim, say, yeah, break the Road Traffic Act or yeah, violate whatever, yeah, this or that. It don't matter. The powers and the duties granted to the police does not allow them to issue civil process. And if they're going to issue a criminal process, they need to be able to articulate what crime you have committed. And this is based on Section 13 of the Constabulary Force Act. So you just take the ticket and go on. You don't talk about leniency. The law is not lenient on any situation. It's either you break the law or you didn't. It's black and white. The judge
So I
in his
guess if you get,
discretion, the judge in his discretion can say, okay, given the circumstances, this does not appear to be intentional because criminal actions need what you call intent to commit a crime. So it don't matter where the officer come with it. It have no duty or no power to be out there writing out civil paper or convict people on the side of the road. It don't matter.
so I guess in other words, he left to when they go to the court. The judge no have to deal with that. You and the judge have to deal with that. Based upon what you're saying.
Right, don't beg no police. We're not beggar. Make
Right,
them
I
write the
feel.
ticket.
I guess in one of your previous posts, I think the lament on that. Yeah, me just recall, yeah, man. Me think me see what that in one of your previous posts. Just
Yeah,
come
man.
back to that.
If you know you are in the right, and again, as we say, lawful always, don't bend to the will of a tyrant. Okay? If the police decides that they are going to write a ticket, you could have beg and plead and bawl. Once him press that button, and the ticket print out. It don't matter. And even so, it's almost like you have begged the officer 10 grand. Him not have it. All him have is a piece of paper. And the piece of paper him write. It is illegal. It is unlawful. It is specifically criminalized here. It says it shall not be lawful. So that means it is illegal to serve in a civil process. And if you're a criminal, guess what? You are going in front of a judge or you are going to jail. Plain and simple.
Just this, right? Just like that.
A matter of fact, Section 13 here specifically states that once them apprehend you, you're supposed to get brought in front of a judge. You're not supposed to see a jail until you see a judge. So all of them, something with them did they do out the road with ticket and all them foolishness. They do not have the authority to do that. How it is? Prolific Gorilla.
I tell you.
Prolific Gorilla said a ticket is a summons. You don't know what a summons is if you say a ticket is a summons. A summons does not have a monetary value attached to it. And if the ticket was a summons, that confirms that there is a criminal matter because the state cannot claim any civil penalties on a citizen without a trial, without some kind of court process. And even so, the state cannot claim anything civil. It has to always be criminal. Smithy, what go on?
It there, Chief. Manners.
Big up.
Hey, big boss. Smith, we don't cut you, big boss. You want to check out and we'll link up again in one right time.
Yeah, man. All right, cool.
Yeah, my little suggestion is that for certain, like say, all right, I got a ticket the other day. All right, they stopped me for say I have one bright light. All right. So now if I am driving and I'm driving on bright and I have one bright light, I get ticket for it, even though I have two dim. And the two dim is on, because you probably know today light and the dim have to be on, right? For the bright to on.
Right.
All right. Anyway, when they stop me and they realize that one light is just a little bit duller than one. So now they walk around, well, they don't walk around the car because I had passed them. So they change from that now and say, I'm going to give you a license plate light because you don't have any light. Right? So now I am saying that, you know that you can just go in your vehicle, everything did all right and stuff like that. Your brakes light or your park light or your license plate light gone. Why they don't have a system like for that where they warn you, right? Where now they can go on the system and say, okay, indeed get a warning for this already, you know. So me I go ticket it.
Well, if they warn you, then that would be a revenue deterrent. You get what I say? It's like
Meaning,
the point of instituting the Road Traffic Act and the Road Traffic Regulation is not just to deter people from doing things, it's to make money.
mm-hmm.
So if you have a system where someone is
Yes.
getting a warning, for every first offense you get a warning, they're not going to make any money. Because
Okay.
if you get a warning today, I know say, boy, you see, even though I don't have it, me no want I forgot pay 10 grand just so for nothing at all. So me I go fix this. I go do that.
Mm-hmm. And something like that. Yeah, I understand what you say, but sometimes we will forget. Because even though me get the ticket now, I just because me the online now, why I even remember so me don't fix it yet.
Ah boy. But either way, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we are say, if a police is issuing a ticket and it is not criminal, the ticket is invalid. And again, if you are a criminal, the police them not allow you to drive and continue where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Them a cuff you and tow your vehicle or drive the vehicle back at them go to jail. Them never carry in front of a judge, which is required here under the Constabulary Force Act.
Mm-hmm.
So them out there are issue civil process, administrative processes to collect money. Right?
Yeah.
And them are going to say Road Traffic Act or Road Traffic Regulation or some other nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
You look on the ticket now, the ticket don't list anything regarding the Road Traffic Act or the Road Traffic Regulation, because when you go to the penalties, right?
Yes.
Let's go up here and look on some penalties. All right. So here it says what? Relevant regulation. Right? So each so-called violation is supposed to have a relevant regulation that they're claiming that you're violating.
Yeah.
But none of this is on the ticket.
No.
What they have there is a code, a JCF code. And a JCF code has no basis in law as far as a ticket's supposed to be concerned. So that also invalidates the ticket, because if this is where you're claiming that I violated something, but yet still you don't list it on the ticket, it is not legally sufficient.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So on top of the fact that you don't have a duty nor a power to be issuing a civil citation because you didn't lock up anyone and you didn't cite any crime. So that means it is a civil matter. And if it is a civil matter, it is specifically forbidden. It said it shall not be lawful to employ any member for civil service. So it no matter when you write on the ticket, it no matter what the ticket is for, it's invalid.
Okay. True. All right. So one next question on this and the ticket card. I have this ticket number and I look on it now. And I just realize if you don't have a license plate light, it's 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a license plate light.
Right, they have points assigned to violations. To some of them, not all of them.
Mm-hmm. All right. My thing with you now, cause as me say, would I really want to, because I believe in what you are doing and me really appreciate it. Right, and as I always reason with people about this brainwash thing that them have way under this spell, right? You know what? Some of the time, because mother want to try it now, but the To remember remember all of these things and go through all of what you're saying and stuff like that. Some of the time when we go in at the court, the the nervousness, you just forget everything that you got that you are supposed to say. But I think that we really need to come on board and prove you right. Because until we do so, it not gonna stop.
Right.
It not gonna stop, it not gonna continue. And if you realize that when you teach people about their right, them say you're a troublemaker, you're this and you're that, and you just create mischief and all of these things. Because of this spell with them away and that for so long.
Okay. Right.
So we
Well,
really need to come on board and do this thing.
yeah, man, it's about building a community,
Yes.
And
True.
if we don't have a community, we don't have any support system.
Yeah.
Everything around us that is organized is multiple people coming together and forming one unit. So if we just keep on the one off that everybody to themselves, it not gonna make anything better.
Yeah, it not gonna make better for real. So for me, even if we go to Booms and go to court and the judge say, boy, whatever, pay more than even what they on the ticket, at least you get the experience and know what to say from what not to say.
Right.
I understand. So people, we really have to try it out and know say, all right, we are go probably not for win, but we are going to win, but probably not for win. But to prove these points and show people, because we are going to win enough to prove them wrong and prove you're right, that it can defend. So me just going to use your platform for any amount of somebody that is on here that we really need to try these things. We really need to try and come on board with you.
Yeah, and again, everything that we're doing here is 100% free. So it's not like you have to pay for. You don't have a subscription. You don't have no fee.
Yeah.
You get the message. So how much easier can it get?
Just the nervousness.
Right.
Just the nervousness for the first round.
Right, but you're only gonna be nervous because you don't have the experience yet. And if you, for example, like you talk about, not having all the knowledge when you go in there, you're going to, forget certain things, you're going to be fumbling and all that. That's fine. But the important thing is, I would say to people who are just starting out, I put out the series Daily Dose of Law.
Yes.
Watch those daily. Okay? It might not mean nothing to you right now, but when the time comes that you need the information, your brain will pull from your knowledge.
Is that now me really watch enough of your video them and repost them and all of that, add them to stories and stuff like that to help, promote this thing and push this thing.
Right. Yeah, man. Definitely appreciate it. And, it's just to get more awareness around the matter because, like me say, I don't know if it's the police, I don't know if it's the government, I don't know who it is, but they are reporting the page daily. So even the people who follow me, the video them now get pushed to as many people as before until you guys start sharing and start reposting. That's when the video start going.
I'm not going to say this to shift, but it's trust me, let me show you how this brainwash is so powerful. It's not we know say the police them will report the page, and the government will report the page, and also the brainwash people them will call themselves diatic people. Alright? The brainwash people them will call themselves diatic people. A lot of them we can tell you say I report the page.
Right.
Right? Because as I said there, we've been brainwashed for so long.
And that's fine. Everybody is entitled to their own opinions, But if it don't apply to you, just simply block me or simply just ignore the page,
Exactly.
you know? But
Why
I
do
know some
I?
people
Why?
don't
All
want the
right.
word going out.
All right. For me, me not like see these PMP and JLP every day upon them page and with this one bag of thing about PMP and JLP. So you know what I do? So my other time when I somebody follow me, and when me go first thing me do I go on your page, you know. And when me see what you're about, me no bother follow you, me no bother with that. Because I don't want to see them people who are run up and down with them green and them orange. Me no want to see them the people put up on my page.
Right.
Once they call themselves diarted people, I don't want to see them. So me no follow them. So it is as simple as that. If you are promoting something and you don't like it, then don't follow the person or you just block the person. So you won't
Exactly.
see anything, any content from them.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
when we decided to stick to this diarted thing, we are going to in trouble. And also if the police them a block the page and know that you are saying something, right? Because it's not only their family, you know, can benefit from what you are teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Their own family can benefit from it. Because remember, you know, some police so you can go tell the next police, say, yo, my brother police, no, so no give me no ticket. And the police say, oh, I police brother police, me not give no ticket. Right? So even their families, them mother, them father, them brother, them sister can benefit from it.
Right. But
So
you
if
know, say,
somebody's promoting something so positive, why? For sure, yo, why?
well, the other part of it to consider, you know, and let me say this, big up to the officer then we follow the page. Because there are some officers that come on the page, you know, and they evaluate what's going on and they realize that I am not just here with opinions. I am coming with the entire book.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not something that can easily be contested or to say, boy, you know, say, that no make no sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you would have to prove that the authority that I'm coming with is invalid. You see me?
True.
And then the other part of it is, while we have some officers that are good, they cannot, you know, especially during the day, they cannot engage with the page and basically make them superiors know. Because
No. Which that shouldn't even be a problem, because as far as you're not going to try and incriminate yourself, because remember that you see the thing is why that is happening is because of a police stop a police and so me a policeman and then let him go, right? When you are supposed to get a ticket same way, no matter who you be,
right.
because you
Especially when
break
you're
the
not on
law.
duty.
Especially exactly when you're not on duty. So that is the reason why you have a lot of police that are afraid to engage, right? Because of all this corruption. See, because a police say I'm an officer, right? And me I engage with this page here, and the next policeman say, oh, so you're against me.
Right.
So him know say now, film life becomes dangerous now, you know. So, you know, we have whole heap of good police out there would have to engage. Whole heap of them, I know that.
Right.
I'm sure of that. But because of the level of corruption that is in our country, well, a matter of fact, this world.
Yeah, man,
But
it's hard about, you know, trust me.
yeah, if you realize my DP, you know, I don't know if you follow them something, but if you realize the person on my DP, you know, is for giants from Africa
Okay.
that would need to change things. So as I said, you can tell a person who engage with you by viewing their profile. And as I explained earlier on, that is what I do before me even say me I follow somebody.
Right.
Right? But people, we need to come on board. We need to try out these methods and prove. If I even 10 somebody need to do it, I'm 5 win and show say yes, it is what it is.
Right. And again, while what we are looking at is not only common sense, but it is legally justifiable, that don't mean that everybody is going to honor it. You might go to court and the judge say, him know why you're not more the constabulary force guilty or not guilty. Right? You have to learn how to work with that.
Yes.
So don't ever expect that just because you have all the knowledge in the world, a judge is going to always say or do one thing or the other. That's not how court works.
Yeah.
So you can never predict what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, all you need to do is learn how to talk and explain yourself and provide your evidence that you have. If you don't know how to do those things, it doesn't matter what you have. Somebody is going to run over you or run circles around you. Just this simple thing right here that I just showed you guys, where all of the tickets are invalid, every single one of them. Because if you engage in any kind of criminal activity and the police fine you, there is no ticket being issued. Straight to jail or straight to in front of a judge. It's that simple. So, the police don't have no form of power to be out here issuing civil process. So, the only thing the police can say is that the ticket is a criminal offense. And then when you ask him, okay, how is that a crime? Because a crime is what is considered criminal. There is nothing else. A crime is the only thing that can be considered criminal. So, explain the crime that has occurred for you to be issuing a criminal offense ticket, which is a conviction. Because if it was not a conviction, then it would simply be an allegation that is brought to court, and the officer would have to provide a verified affidavit, which would be a witness statement, which would explain the criminal offense. But none of that takes place. The officer just simply look upon you or look upon your car, write a ticket, and then gone upon him way, which makes no sense. But because we don't know, they keep getting away with it.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, yes, most of the tickets are going to start getting dismissed once people have this information. And I can tell you that I know that there are a lot of people out there using the information, but they don't want to load up themselves on the page. There are people out there who send me private message, but they don't want to make it public because they start getting threats. Them can threaten me all them want. You see me? That's why I'm load up a lot of them on the page. That's why them really have a lot of them in the comments anymore.
Oh, okay.
And the only reason I would load up somebody on the page is to preserve the evidence. So if anything happened later on where I need to show that somebody was acting in a malicious way, I already have the evidence. You see me? So that's why I tell everyone, get a dash cam, get a dash cam. It don't matter. It don't matter what happened. You don't have to be catching any moment or missing anything. You get the dash cam, and the dash cam will capture everything. Yes, you can. You can use the dash cam evidence in court. And again, if you're a part of the Telegram group, there is a document in the Telegram group that allows you to introduce that evidence in court. If you go into Jamaica Acts of Parliament, you scroll up a bit. Where is it? Notice of reliance on video evidence. Now, remember people, the documents were updated today. So you might want to delete the previous set of documents that you had and download this new set, because there were some changes that were made to update the verbiage and all of that. This is a notice of reliance on video evidence. This is one of the documents that you would file in the court prior to the expiration of the ticket. So let me go over a couple of things, because people are going about this the old way. If I got a ticket today, you see tomorrow, you see all of these that say ticket example. A matter of fact, I would suggest you download these documents and you read through them. Most of them are just one page. So this is not, one heap of something you have to read and I go through. Most of them that you open is not even a full page you have to read. Right? But you have about 6 or 7 documents that I would fill out. The first one is notice to contest traffic ticket. Right? And all of the documents are labeled. Like this one is 00A. How do you access the Telegram group? You download Telegram and you search for 876 rights. One word. 876 rights. This is a notice of intention to contest traffic ticket. This is the first document.
No.
What does this do? This saves you the time of going down to the court whenever that date on the ticket comes. Because what you don't realize is there is no court date on that ticket. That date that you see on the ticket, if you go down there on that date, that is when the actual case gets created. So you just wasted 20 days or 30 days. Instead of wasting all that time, you can go down to the courthouse the very next day and you can file this document along with your other documents. And those documents that you would file is in, let's see. I'm gonna bring that up right now. Particulars, witness statement, memorandum. Oh, acknowledgement of receipt. Okay. So this document here is called acknowledgement of receipt. It tells you which documents you would file with the court, and all the documents are on the Telegram channel. So you put all these documents together, you edit them so they fit your situation. It has the different sections you put in, and you would fill out all these documents and you would bring it down to the courthouse. You bring 3 copies, and for some of them, like you see here, it requires a JP. So you cannot sign them until you get to a JP. You get 3 copies of each, and you bring them all to the clerk. When you go down there and you give it to the clerk of the court, they will stamp all 3 copies and give you back 2 sets of the documents. 1 for you and 1 to serve on the police station. It doesn't need to be served on the officer that issued the ticket. It just needs to be served on the precinct, the police station, where that officer is located out of, which you can find on the ticket. When you serve the police station, you bring back this acknowledgement receipt. This acknowledgement receipt is what you would bring to the station for them to fill out and also sign to say that they received those court documents. You bring this back to the clerk. You get the clerk to file this, and you're done. You get a copy of this. So what this does is this eliminates the long waiting we're all around complaining about. Oh, you have to wait and then you go to court and then them issue a court date if you say you're not guilty because you have to notify the officer and this and that and whatever. You eliminate all of that nonsense. Let me show you something.
May I continue listen? May I take a call and then come back?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So here you have another document called Notice and Demand to Summon Officer. For those of you who keep complaining that the police them now show up to the court and the judge them have put off the case and all of that, this eliminates that excuse. So this is a part of the documents that are going to be filed. Right? So you fill that out to your liking. And then you have a demand for particulars. This is the most important document of them all. Demand for particulars. This is a list of questions that the officer must answer before they come to court. When the officer get this and they do not answer these questions, that is grounds for you to dismiss the case. Demand that the court dismiss the case because the officer failed to obey a direct document from the court. The motions are there, the documents are there, the notices are there. The documents are labeled appropriately. So for example, this document is labeled Ticket Example Demand for Particulars 00F. So you get to see all the documents in line and you can see which ones get filed and which ones go to court. They are labeled properly. The previous ones that were in the group, they weren't labeled intuitively so you know which one go to court and which one you would file initially. So once you have all of these documents and you go through them, it will be intuitive and pretty much straightforward to know which one you file, which one you bring to court, etc., etc. And once you get all of these documents in, most likely the officer will not show up. Right? And once the officer does not show up, you have, all right, that's another one for witness statement. There is a motion. Where do we have this one?
Me never tell you which man, but yet still things.
Acknowledgement certification. Absent officer. Right? So, when you have an officer that does not show up to court, here you have a motion to dismiss. Again, the documents are labeled so you would know which one to bring and what it's for. This motion you would bring to court, and if the officer don't show up, you let the judge know you would like to submit a motion to dismiss the case because the only witness in the case is not available, and based on Rule 1117 of the Civil Procedure Rules, you're demanding that the court proceed in the absence of the officer because he was notified. So you already satisfied the requirement that the officer is notified prior to the case coming up. So once the officer don't show, you demand for a dismissal. Case closed, case dismissed. If the officer does show up, you also have a motion for that. If the officer don't answer the question, you have a motion for that. So you have a motion or a document for just about any scenario that comes up regarding the officer either misbehaving, not answering, or not showing up. So that is the Telegram group. And again, just like I've said before, the tickets are invalid. You have the authority here. It's also within the documents. What kind of lightning and thunder that? So you have the items, you have the documents, you have the references. Again, the daily dose of law is important so that you can get familiar with the terms, you can get familiar with why some of these things are important, why we use certain things, why we say certain things, and why you use certain things in your documents and your defense and your offense in court. Now, like I said earlier, we're going to start some mock trials so people can start getting familiar with how you speak in court, how you present legal arguments, how you ask questions, how you address questions, how you address the court. And you also have already seen this in some of the mock trials that I've done on the page. You know, even though they are fictional, they present a point of view that many of you may not have been aware of, right? So, again, nothing is going to go 100%, but at least you will have the experience and the idea of what to expect in many cases when you start to do some of these claims and processes in the long run. All right? So I have to jump off now, guys. Actually run over the time, but thank you again. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you all will continue to learn and assist in forming a community of action takers, not just watching and not doing anything. It is always good to exercise the knowledge that you have so you turn it into wisdom. All right, big up on yourself. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you all have a good night, and I will continue dropping the videos. I'll continue educating everybody so that you understand what is your rights, what you can do, how you can effectuate what you've learned, and the processes that come as a result. Big up on yourself, manners and respect, lawful, always.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, Virgin. I appreciate you a lot. Continue doing the good work.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
I have some marketing tactics where I'm going to help you make sure the thing spread, but me talk to you about that another time.
Yeah, man. Manners and respect. Big up.
All right.
Yeah, man. Cool. All right, peeps. Look more.